without wasting much time, let us invite the first industry leader who will impart what he has done in the logistic industry. Can we play the audiovisual introduction of Shashikiran Shetty?
Mr. Shashikiran Shetty is the founder and chairman of Alcargo Logistics, ACU Worldwide and Gati Limited. Starting off with humble beginnings, Mr. Shetty has built Alcargo into India's largest integrated private sector logistics company. The group has presence in over 160 countries through its 300 offices globally, and over 10,000 employees. Mr. Shetty has been appointed by Government of India as the chairman of the Society and Board of Governors of the National Institute of Industrial Engineering, NITIA, one of India's premier management engineering institute, in 2020.
May I now request President and Vice President to escort Mr. Shashikiran Shetty to the dais, please. Before Shashikiran starts his speech, we would like to felicitate him at the hands of President and Vice President. And Mr. Kushal Hegde is also requested to be present in making this memento submission. And Mr. Balkrishna Shetty of Unitop. Where is Bala, sir? Over to you, Shashikiran, for your address to the gathering.
Yeah. Hello, can you hear me? Hi. Hello. Good evening, everybody. It's truly a pleasure and honor for me to be here today among such an august gathering of great achievers from our community, and many of you, my good friends. And I really feel very privileged to belong to a Bund community. We as a community are truly blessed with hard work, courage, and conviction, and also a great blend of looking after our family and standing for our friends at a time of need. We are truly known for that, as all of us know. I also remember the honor IBCCI has given me just before the pandemic by honoring me for our achievements as a group, and I'm truly indebted for that to Chandranna and all the office bearers for considering me worthy for that honor. Thank you very much, Chandranna, and other members. I hope all of you have recovered from the tremendous onslaught of the pandemic that hit the whole business community deeply, particularly our fellow members of our community who manages hospitality business. And I hope and pray that their troubles are over and we'll all recover from this very soon. Now, I have prepared a presentation, and I would like to start with that. And subsequently, I can share my story, because I was not prepared. I would rather go for the flow, what has been decided earlier. This is a great initiative, the way I see it, as a knowledge summit. Like the earlier speakers have said, knowledge is to be shared. Knowledge has to be transferred to other people. That is why so many books are written around the world, and case studies of many companies are taught in the business schools, so that the knowledge is actually transferred to the people who want to learn. I think for the knowledge to be gained, one of the most important thing that we all have to develop is to learn. Ability to learn, wanting to learn, and wanting to listen, right? Many of these things, many times, we knowingly or unknowingly don't practice it. Listening is a great quality to develop, and I can tell you my own example. I just did my graduation in a small town called Bantwal. I did my BCom, and I never visited Bombay before till I completed my graduation and came looking for a job. And as you can see, for a small town 40 years ago, what knowledge you could really gain. The graduation that I did, I don't remember that I really had got to use it. It taught common sense, it gave you basic knowledge, it taught you how to speak a language, etc. But after coming here and working and looking at the whole business environment, your mind really opened up. And I felt completely out of the box, that I don't know anything. And I've been fortunate, that maybe I'm blessed, that I'm a deep learner. I listen to people very carefully. I observe body language. And thankfully, the deep value that my family gave me at the time of my growing up, and I always cherish that. So in the process, I've been able to really do business in the right way. And I always did the right thing. I never did shortcuts. I never wanted to do anything wrong to anyone. And I always believed that other people's money is more important than my own money. So I also cared a lot for customers, because we exist for our customers. So customer centricity or customer obsession is something that I've been very, proactively spreading across the organization. And when you spread these words out, you have to practice it first, right? Then only people will believe in that. So if you have any questions after my presentation about my other knowledge that I gained over the last 40 years in my business, you can feel free to ask the question. So let's start with the flow. Two times? No. Okay. So when the pandemic hit, we all were extremely scared. What would happen, right? I had like you've seen, I have a company which is in 160 countries. We have an overhead of over $200 million. And if things should go how we all thought in the beginning, now we are all wiser, now we all know what the situation is, but at that time, it was really, really scary what can happen. So what we did is we all got together in a huddle multiple times, not once, and discussed. I'm talking about the senior management team of the company, of the group. And then put in a structure where we could discuss every day what is that we're supposed to do for the first 30 days. And a lot of things came out, a lot of ideas emerged. This is the beauty, that when there is a crisis, everybody comes together. Like India plays Pakistan, the whole country gets together. Okay, there may be some exceptions, but by and far. We bury all our differences and we become one team and we talk. Same way, people came together and we discussed and tried to see where we can save money. It's a long story, a long list of agenda that we had to deal with. But just before the pandemic hit, there are also a couple of other very important things happened. Firstly, we acquired a company called Gati Limited. Gati is the second largest domestic express transportation company. It's an asset-light business model where the company can pick up and deliver cargo to any part of the country, 19,000 pin codes. So this company was a pioneer in that business, but the company got into deep difficulties because of multiple reasons. And we got the opportunity to look at that business, and many people looked at it. Our competitors like TVS Logistics and Mahindra Logistics, many of them have looked at it. So they did not have the conviction to turn the company around because there's so much of problems in the organization. So thankfully, with some good friends, we've been able to convince the promoter, one on the price which he was asking for, and obviously that we negotiated very hard, brought it down quite substantially. And many other issues we knew, and a lot of things came out during the diligence, and we were convinced that we can tackle one by one. So that was one. Acquisition just happened the previous December of 2019. The second thing what happened was we were on a transformation journey. We've been discussing about that for over 6 months with one of the leading consultants, McKinsey and Company. And we were also doing a finance transformation project which came later on anyway. So we've been discussing McKinsey and we just got signed up with them and started the whole transformation journey for about 18 months. So these two major decisions were already taken just before the pandemic. So you have no choice. And both these projects were ongoing and kept us really, really busy in the first few months and subsequently throughout the 18 months. We did many other initiatives. Through the whole transformation and the Gati acquisition and the transformation of Gati, we used a company called A&M. And we've been able to identify there are many critical positions where we could strengthen our organization everywhere. So one, in Gati, very sad to say that we had to downsize the company by almost 33% of the employees because that was completely filled with the number of people required. So on one hand, we are scaling the company down, and also tightening the processes everywhere, wherever we could. And then all these critical positions we have identified have been hired. As you can see, almost 20 CXO positions in business development, in general management, in HR, and in IT, in the digital, everywhere. So wherever we identified the requirements, we hired the people. All happened online through video. And then other 100-odd critical positions. As we speak, we changed the entire management of Gati in the last 18 months, and and the organization has now really become far more agile. Am I on this? Yeah. So, continuing with that, we also had, unfortunately, in the middle of all this, there are two other very important events happened. That is, we got a cyber attack globally. Our entire global business came to a standstill. And there are too many things that were unfortunately not in our favor. And this was a ransom attack. So we've been asked over $10 million to be paid as a ransom. And then we again got into very, very serious discussions and brought in a new set of consultants and worked with them. And I'm very proud to say that we didn't pay a penny. And in 15 days, we've been able to up and running. And in the process, we've also been able to fix our entire IT organization. And that process is even continuing today after 8 months of the attack. Now, talking about the other thing, what we also did is we wanted to, when the pandemic hit, the share prices collapsed. So the price came down to about 60 rupees. And unfortunately for all cargo, because the diversified businesses what we have within the logistics and a global presence, our company was not rightly valued. So we thought, why not? It's a great opportunity for us to delist the company. So we decided to announce a delisting. And as the delisting process was ongoing, markets started recovering. So then obviously, we wanted to pay X amount of price for the shares, but the investors were not willing. And then anyway, then we abandoned the entire delisting process, but that also taking a lot of time to go through all that. And after a year later, we closed the delisting, and then the price is now already hit 280 rupees, and we are willing to pay up to 150 rupees. So the job is done to some extent in that sense. So now that's about the group. Why I'm telling you all this is just to make sure that I communicate about what we did in these 2 years, in spite of the pandemic, in spite of all the trouble, company became even more stronger. So now talking about what lies ahead post-COVID, right? And these are things most of you already know. I think India, the whole geopolitical situation is changing. The Quad getting formed. India, US, India's presence in the global scenario is emerging even stronger and stronger. And I think, thankfully, for the current government, I think there are a lot of reforms are getting fast-tracked, and many, many things are going on, as you can read in the presentation. Like, to add further, as you know, the foreign direct investment is the peak, is at $81 billion. The stock markets are at record levels, a lot of money coming from international investors, keeping a great amount of trust and faith in the Indian growth story. The other most important emerging situation is on the e-commerce, right? The e-commerce is now becoming very, very inevitable in every business. And I think that's one area where all of us need to put great effort to find the right kind of a strategy, right kind of a, ideas about your own businesses. That is, I think, something that we need to think about. And also India, as all of us know, that is a very young population. Your business need to be focused on where the younger population's requirements are served in a large extent, where the consumption of the younger people are. So that is something I think we need to keep in mind. Also, like I said, the policy reforms are happening in a great speed. Situation of China is, India is looking at, the world is looking at another important manufacturing hub for the world. Services for the world. India is already the leading player in the services business, as you know, the IT and other digital areas. So India has a great opportunity in manufacturing. And on the back of the entire infrastructure story that India is emerging, 172 projects are already completed, 235 projects of worth 2,16,000 crore under implementation, 8,981 projects worth 111 lakh crore is being considered or being implemented or planned out. Gati Shakti, which is 100 lakh crore initiative by the government of India. And as we discussed, which is very, very relevant for manufacturing companies, 13 sectors are already covered in the PLI, Production Linked Incentive Program by the government of India. Huge support for the MSME industry. There's a lot of things happening, and India is a great place to be in as entrepreneurs today. All that is required is way to find your future, the vision and the strategy and the financing of that strategy is what is need to be really thought through. On top of that, the whole digitalization program, the world is, like Google, for example, has set up a $10 billion fund for digitalization in India. Like I said earlier, the entire IT and knowledge business is just booming. So many unicorns are getting created. There's lots happening. So this is an opportunity, and this is also can be a huge challenge. The ones who don't adopt digitalization in your respective businesses. So this is something which is very, very close to my heart, is the people. I earlier said about shareholders, I earlier said about the customers, and the other important area is people. If you have to build a sustainable business, we all know that we need to have a great team of people, right kind of a skills, right kind of a culture in the organization, and right kind of a structure to support that. They say is a culture is such an important element to bring the best practices in the company, create that motivation in the organization, and have a very good reward system for the people to excel. These are very, very important matters that, as a people management, we need to keep in mind. And many organizations, as all of us know that, have ESOP schemes and performance-linked bonuses to the people. And retention of people is becoming a massive challenge as demand for good quality people is always on the rise. I think this is one of the biggest challenge for all entrepreneurs to attract the right talent, retain the right talent, develop the right talent, and make sure that there is enough for them to do so that they have a roadmap for their own career. So this is something we have to figure a way out if you have to build the scale and have a sustainable business going forward. Obviously, we all know there is always risk in business, and how do you mitigate the risk is something that we always have to keep in mind in terms of analyzing the risk. We have a chief risk officer in the company. His job is not only to do internal audit, his job is to talk to various managers and communicate the challenges and communicate the ideas and scale it to the board, right? And create a strategy around that and create a structure around that to make sure that, in a way, you're giving your ears close to the ground because you can't reach everywhere. Your managers can't reach everywhere. You need to have independent people to give you that idea of what's going on in your organization. The other major risk many of the businesses have encountered, as all of us know, you read in the newspapers about companies going overboard in financing their businesses by taking loans or by issuing instruments which can come at you biting, right? So financial planning is something extremely important, and today every stock market, every company are looked at the scanner before the valuation is done. What is your debt in the company, right? How you are able to service the debt. And our friend Shashikiran is here, so I'm sure he's going to speak about that. I think debt has taken down many, many big groups, where they were and where they are today. So many of them are in NCLT, so many have gone bankrupt, have lost their name, they had to leave the country. All sorts of things have happened, right? So managing the finances and the risk and talking to your customers and talking to your, I'm a big believer also to talk to the competitors, right? So understand what's going on, what is their context, what are their challenges. You should be able to gather those information and use that information for the benefit of your organization. I think that's what it is. Last slide. Yeah. So this is a word from Jeff Bezos. I predict that 21st century belongs to India. And let's hope and pray for that and celebrate that. And all the very best. Thank you very much. If any of you have any questions, I'm happy to answer. Thank you.
Any questions?
Yeah. Yes.
Hello. Hello. Shashikiran, it was a nice presentation.
Thank you.
I was just going through this, you have acquired Gati, and immediately the pandemic has happened. And it was really a panic situation for entrepreneurs to come across. And that situation, even you said delisting you have decided of delisting, and then again coming back to this thing. These are the decisions to be taken in kind of a panic situation.
Yeah.
So what kind of mindset kept you, in that flow to take those decisions? Because it is, I'm asking a insight of an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
We just wanted to know that what kind of a mindset make you to take kind of a decision to float through this.
Yeah. I'll tell you, 2 years has been one of the most difficult, but was one of the most accomplished 2 years for us. Right? Many of these things we could do or we could absorb because we have very, very strong financial discipline in the company. Okay, to just give an example, there is something called Audit Committee, which everybody knows, in the board level, right? So in addition to the Audit Committee, we also have what we call as a Finance Committee, which is over and above the Audit Committee, which is not mandatory. So I'm always paranoid about finances, okay? Recoveries, paying people in time, servicing your debt, and also I'm very, very sensitive about equity, because equity is a very expensive asset, right? And equity is something that you should not give away easily. These are the things that I learned very quickly in life. So that's the reason we still own 70% of the company. So in spite of raising so much money multiple times. So one, I have a financial discipline and enough reserve to do the delisting. And also personally, over the last 20 years, having running the business, we got a lot of dividend. Personally also, to a large extent, I know debt, zero debt in the personal capacity. And obviously I have some money so I could use that to do the delisting. So financially I was secure to do these kind of bold decisions. Gati, when we acquired, we didn't borrow any money also to acquire Gati. We used our own money, internal resources of the company to buy Gati, right? And we faced tremendous amount of challenges. There's no enough time because we had a battle in the board. We had a battle with the promoter after acquisition. The business in the pandemic collapsed by 95% for 3 months because the whole nation was locked down. So the company lost money, over 50 crores it lost in 1 quarter. There's a lot of things that were going on. 2020 was an extremely difficult year. And we had committed for a lot of actions and initiatives already in the previous year, like I said earlier. So I think what it goes to show, one is you should have a very strong management, strong financials, right? And you should not be someone who get distracted into non-core businesses, right? And when you build a reputation and when you build an ecosystem where you have an employee brand, or you have a financial brand, the banks are, we are always top rated. If you need money, we are under leveraged, so we can always raise money. We hold significant shares. We could always sell equity and, buy. Those two things really gave us that confidence. So, if I answered your question.
Sir, good evening. One more question if we have time.
Sure.
I think we've been hearing about the war for talent. The attritions across the board, across sectors, services, industries, is at a level that is unheard of in the past.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to see you touched upon that as something very close to you as well. I just wanted to understand, in the current environment and looking maybe 2, 3 years or 5 years in the future, what are your plans and how do you see or how do you think entrepreneurs should plan about it? Because if that is not taken care of, frankly, there may be not sufficient people to help you grow your business or sustain your business.
So if you ask me, one of the biggest thing that keeps me awake is about retaining the talent and managing should important people leave the organization, because we are a service industry, right? From our company, from All Cargo, there must have been at least 5 companies got established. Our people left and started, and they've also done well. So that the lesson there is you've got to create a very sustainable business model, right? The sustainability, first of all, comes from having a very structured environment, and there is a succession planning that is being done right from multiple levels, right? So we have a program in the company where we identify high potential people, and we discuss their career with them. We discuss their career for the next 5 years. Where would he reach or she will reach? We identify also the critical resources. We call them as specialists. They may not be able to grow to CXO level, but they are important for the company. So you identify even such critical positions. And always plan about, kind of ring fence them to begin with, that they don't leave. Or if they leave, there is always a second tier who's able to take up, at least temporarily. And we have two structures also in the managing people. One is your CHRO, the regular CHRO, Chief HR Officer, and we also created what we call as Chief People Officer. So they work as a team, but Chief People Officer's job is to hire the best talent in the market, proactively engage talent and leaders across the competition, and go into the universities and hire young people. Doesn't have to be IMI or XLRIs. It could be tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 schools, and make this compulsory as a mandate, as a goal for a senior leadership to make sure that those people are successful. They don't come and join and then leave after 1 year or 2 years. So that means they have that goal, they have that KPI to make sure that they retain the talent, which is not very successful. I can assure you that will lead to a lot of frustration. A lot of people leave. 50, 60% of the people can leave. But that is the investment you have no choice but to make. Right from my office, and my brother-in-law, Adarsh, who is one of a very senior person in the organization, we have created at least 5 of them. And now they are country managers. One of them has become a CFO. So people have risen to that level over the years. So succession planning is a very important area. Not only family succession, which Ajitan is going to talk about later, even the internal succession, so that your key talent or key leadership is always there. And obviously the lateral hiring. That's something that that's why the Chief People Officer's role is to hire. That's how in the pandemic we could hire 20 CXOs and 100 critical resources across the world, all on video calls, because nobody can travel, nobody can meet, and very successfully done it. Yeah. Sure.
Shipping corporation is for sale.
Yeah.
Do you think it will be a good marriage with all cargo? Because it'll go well with both of you.
Yeah. That's what I thought, and that's why we went into ship owning business. That was about 5 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago. We bought 5 ships, but we bought the ships to run very close to the Indian waters, right? We wanted to test the ship owning business. Fortunately, like I said, we didn't commit too much of capital, and things went wrong. We didn't lose much money, but we didn't make money. We put a lot of effort, and we realized that ship owning is a very different business to what we do as a logistics service provider. Because logistics service provider, you're giving a service, but owning a ship is you're managing an asset. So asset management is a very different business compared to service business. So we decided to get out of all the ship we bought. We sold all the ships and focused on our core business, and that was a very good decision. We also have a lot of equipment. We used to have trailers, cranes, forklifts, restackers, all that, because that's the business I started, right? So we scaled that business also. We put over 1,000 crores into that business, and we realized that's not a great business because it's very cyclical. The asset owning business is always very cyclical, because when the markets boom, there is demand. When something goes wrong, then your demand goes down, but you have to service the asset all the time. And then for that also, you have to be a market leader. You can't be a small operator, which means it sucks more and more capital, right? It was not a very efficient capital deployment strategy. So we decided to get out of ship owning. So SCI, yes, I would have, if I If I don't do anything else and run SEI, possibly yes. But we did decide to stay out of that. By the way, SCI was very close to me because when I was coming to Bombay, I thought I was getting a job in SCI, Shipping Corporation of India. But actually, no. I got a job in an agency company, thank God. Otherwise, I had to become a government officer.
Mr. Shashikiran,
Yes.
You have given really a lot of insight was, that as for the management, people management is concerned, finance management is concerned, crisis management, everything you have given us. But I'm coming to the last point. Of course, Mr. Rai is going to explain it in a different way.
Yeah.
My question to you that, that okay, after having reached to this level, that you are such a big corporate today, that okay, because, international, local, more than 10,000 people, you have got one side your family members and this side the professionals.
Yeah.
In a very critical situation, that you reach a particular level, at that particular time, as a business decision you have to take, how you'll go, whether with the family or with the professionals, and how you can take that crucial situation, how one can take a right decision.
Yeah. So I can answer it in 2-3 ways. One is, when you build a company of this scale, and as per the regulations also, right, you're supposed to build a very competent board, right? Now, you can bring board members who have very less voice. And you can also bring board members who are very strong in their views and opinions and knowledge, right? So I decided to go on the other side. I brought one of the finance boards. I have a very strong solicitor, a very strong finance consultant. We recently inducted the group CFO and CIO of Mahindra & Mahindra. We have a McKinsey consultant who's a Swiss national. He's in the board. And we had people of that type who are in the board and who make sure they give their right advices, right? And independent directors have to be 50%, right? So if you do anything wrong, a good independent director will either vote against your resolution or he'll walk away, right? So that is one part. So that itself brings that governance becomes a very important area. And the second is about the family. Now, about the family, as far as all of you probably heard about Adarsh Hegde, he's my wife's elder brother, and he's one of the most finest, most dedicated, hardworking professional. But he has some shares in the company, but he works as if he is working for any third party. He's fully accountable. People obviously respect him for his passion, for his seniority, for his contribution to the company and all that. Now that scenario is already there as a family in the company. People know what is in my mind, right? Now when my son, now he's 27 years old, he's fortunately studied well and is smart and he's very capable. Now when he joined, I started involving in the business from the age of 15 years. By talking to him, much younger age of course, but 15, 16 years is really, I started taking him to meetings, got him to read, copied him some of the important emails, all the internal messaging, all that also used to go to him, things like that. So he already knew what he was getting into. I always wanted him to work somewhere else for 1 or 2 years, but he was very clear that he wanted to come and join the company. So I said, okay, come and join. And fortunately, when he came in, the whole digitalization strategy, digital program, all that got started, and he's now fully dedicated into that. That's almost like a new organization. So he's in a way leading it, and people are very happy. And when he joined, this entire transformation work is also going on. So that was a great opportunity for him to work with the companies like McKinsey and many of the other things that what we are doing. He was involved, so he learned a lot. And but he still want to go and do his MBA next 1 or 2 years. So so that's how it is. But I'm more training him to be the. Of course, he has to work. We have a plan for him for the next 10 years, how he should be transitioned into a functional role, a leadership role. But I think more about he should manage the company like how I am managing the company now, using the people and using the professionals and right kind of advisors. So not necessarily 10 years he has to slog, obviously, and after that, that's how he should be running the company. Yeah.
SKS, I want to ask one question related to business. Now, post-COVID, so acute shortage of vessels and containers throughout the globe.
Right.
Is it because of interference by the Chinese or recession somewhere? But there is no recession. Globally, all the countries are doing very good.
Yeah.
And mainly India and China is doing extremely well. So why this is happening? Is there any improvement possible, or do you think?
Yeah. I'll tell you, the reason is, there are many reasons. I'll name a few of them. Number one is COVID, of course, right? What happened is, if you look at the liner shipping business in the last 10 to 12 years, consistently, the shipping companies have under-delivered to the shareholders, okay? The return on equity is probably less than 5%. Because what happened was everybody were building ships, buying containers, and there was overcapacity. Then the global financial crisis happened, right? The volumes fell 40%. And the shipping industry never recovered from that in a right way. So in the process, many companies went bankrupt, and some other companies got acquired. Now we have about 6 or 7 top companies have about 80% of the global market share, right? So they got the power on demanding rates. So that is one. The second, in the pandemic, 2-3 things happened. One, the ports started closing down, so which means there is no loading, unloading. And that has affected the containers sitting on the ships instead of containers in circulation. So then the port closure also led to delay for the ships for getting the berth. And then the labor shortage happened because all the labor started going into to the villages, and the government started giving them money, and many of them didn't return only to work. So there is a shortage of labor, there's a shortage of driver. Then the global economy went up, the demand's gone up because people are sitting at home and ordering. A lot of demand started happening. So there are these kind of reasons all added up together, and then the Suez Canal happened, so that created the blockage. So all the Western world, the warehouses are full, the ports are dysfunctional, there are no trucks, there are no labor. No labor means substantially less trucks, substantially less, So all this has contributed to the shortage of containers and the ships. And the shipping lines decided to hold on the rates. They started increasing the rate. And when they increase the rate, then everybody increases the rate, right? So its benefit also comes like us.
Increasing the rate to 6 times, 7 times, 8 times,
Yes.
10 times of the normal freight.
Yes.
So this is a very good catch for you if you think of acquiring Shipping Corporation of India, because all the shipping companies are owned by Europeans. In India, I think Shipping Corporation of India has hardly 27 ships, I think, 27 vessels.
No, Shipping Corporation of India doesn't have significant presence in container shipping. They have probably not even 1% of the global shipping capacity, not even 1%.
Yeah.
To build a shipping line of the scale what is required, you need at least $100 billion today. $100 billion to create one shipping line. So shipping corporations have no chance. And so I was talking to the Minister of Commerce the other day. So he was talking to me about what is the way out. So I was telling him the same thing. So he said, no, this is not going to work.
Thank you.
Question, sir.
Thank you.
This is the last question. Because we have a serious constraint on time, let us make justice to other speakers who have come from
okay?
a long way. And kindly excuse us. If you have any further questions, you can always contact Shashikiran on his address.
I must admit it's difficult to contact me.
Yeah, thanks. And Shashikiran Anna, thank you very much.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry.
We love to hear your concern for your people. This teamwork always make the dreams work. Now, let's get into.
I just want you all to watch that one video which I really like. Just only 3 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes. Please watch it. Thank you.
What's stopping you? Are you too tired? Didn't get enough sleep? Don't have enough energy? Don't have enough time? Is that what's stopping you right now? Don't have enough money? Is that the thing? Or is the thing that's stopping you, you?
Excuses sound best to the person that's making them up. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Get off the pity potty. Telling everybody your sad and sob stories, trying to get people to show up to your pity potties and your pity parades. If you ever see me in a Rolls Royce, a 6 or 7 star hotel, living my life to the fullest, don't get jealous of me, because I worked my ass off to get it. Nobody handed me nothing. Wake your ass up. Awaken the beast inside. It's game on. It's go season. It's time for you to take advantage of the access and the resources that you have in your country and your community. You got a problem with your life. You got a problem with your environment. Do something about it. If you want it, go get it.
Recognize the excuses are not valid. They're conjured up, they're fabricated, they're lies. And how do you stop the lies? You stop the lies with the truth. And the truth is, you have time. You have the skill, you have the knowledge and the support and the willpower and the discipline to get it done.
The fruit of everything good in life begins with a challenge. Everything is uphill that's worthwhile. And it's not going to come to you, and it's not going to fall in your lap, and it's not going to be something that, oh my God, it just was so simple. It's always going to be difficult.
If you want it, you gotta go get it.
This is your chance. This is your shot. This is your moment. This is your time. This is your place. This is your opportunity.
This is my time. This is my moment. Tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow. Ain't no such thing as tomorrow. We only got today. It's your dream. If you want it to happen, get your butt up and make it happen. If you want it to happen, rise and grind.
You still got work to do. Stay on that basketball court. Stay on that football field. It's grind season, homie.
Wow.